بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. The question that has come is that can dua change taqdeer? Can dua change destiny? So the question is asking that if there was something that was meant to be, then can dua do anything to change that? What if it was something bad? Can dua remove that bad thing? So, a simple answer is that there are two types of taqdeer that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written. One is the absolute taqdeer, the absolute destiny or fate, which was written in Al-Lawh al-Mahfuz, and it is preserved with Him, and it will neither change nor be altered. Then there is a written form of taqdeer that is given over to the angels. And what the angels have is, it may be left open-ended to certain choices that the person takes. So for example, the angels could have been commanded to bring a certain type of affliction, but they have been instructed that if this person starts making dua to remove the affliction, then this will be the outcome of it. Similarly, there is a decision coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala regarding someone's rizq, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has instructed the angels that if my slave does this, then do this. Ultimately, what the slave is going to do is known by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But Allah Azza wa Jal does not push a person into circumstances that the person is unable to withstand, or does not hold him accountable or her accountable for things that are not in their control. One hadith mentions that لا يرد القضاء إلا الدعاء لا يرد القضاء إلا الدعاء, that nothing can repel taqdeer, destiny, other than dua. And in one hadith it's mentioned that an affliction is coming from the sky, a decision has been made, but the person is engaged in dua to remove troubles and to remove calamities. This dua meets that affliction. Now, the dua has the mandate to remove the affliction, and the affliction has the instructions to come down. But the dua intercepts it. And sometimes the dua continues fighting and resisting against this affliction until Yawm al-Qiyamah. So some ulama have written that depending on the strength of the dua, sometimes the dua will repel the affliction, remove it. Sometimes it will stay there as a shield. And sometimes if the dua is weak or it is not properly done, then it will be overwhelmed by the affliction. It depends on how the person made dua and how well they fulfilled their duty of dua. So generally speaking, yes, dua can change what is happening. In fact, it can change what's happening right now, not just what's happening in the future, but what's happening right now. That's why the Prophet ﷺ taught us dua for when there is no rain, there's a drought, there's a famine. Can dua change that? Yes, dua can change that. A Bedouin came to the Prophet ﷺ while he was giving his Jum'ah talk, and he said, "O Prophet of Allah, everything is destroyed. The lands, animals, everything is ruined. We don't have rain." The Prophet ﷺ raised his hands and made dua. Immediately rain started falling, right then and there. And it continued to fall until the next Friday. That same Bedouin came the next Friday, and he said, "O Prophet of Allah, now the lands are flooded." So the Prophet ﷺ then made dua, "Allahumma hawalayna wa la alayna." Oh Allah, send this rain now to other places, not directly on us. So dua actually has been given to us for the sake of changing things, for the sake of making alterations in the world around us, for the sake of protecting us from things that could be coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But while we are turning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in dua, we should have yaqeen in this dua. We should have conviction that yes, my dua will be accepted. That's why Umar radiallahu anhu used to say that إِنِّي لَا أَحْمِلُ هَمَّ الْإِجَابَةِ, I don't carry the worry of whether my dua is going to be accepted or not. وَإِنَّمَا أَحْمِلُ هَمَّ الدُّعَاءِ, I am just worried whether I made dua or not. So he says, فَإِذَا أُلْهِمْتُ الدُّعَاء, if it comes in my heart to make dua, then I know that Allah has brought this into my heart because He wants something to change. And He will accept whatever it is that I'm asking. So, making dua is an important part of our lives. The other thing is that we don't stop just with dua. We have an action plan that enables us to follow through with the dua. So our actions are in line with what it is we're asking for. The Quran gives an example in Surah Al-Baqarah that some people, they're making dua, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يَقُولُ رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا وَمَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ خَلَاقٍ. Some people are just making dua for things in dunya. There's no share for them in akhirah. وَمِنْهُمْ مَن يَقُولُ رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. Some people are making dua for good in dunya and good in akhirah, and they're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save them from the punishment of Jahannam. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمْ نَصِيبٌ مِمَّا كَسَبُوا. For them is a share for what they do. Yani they have to have an action plan. If they're asking Allah for good in dunya, then they should be working towards good in dunya, not just completely leaving it. And if they're asking Allah for good in akhirah, they need to be working for good in akhirah, not just asking for akhirah and then leaving the rest up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They will get a share based on what they do. So have dua, have a lot of emphasis on dua, put your heart into dua, and inshallah if your dua is in the right place and your heart is in the right place while you're making dua, then Allah will give you tawfiq to practice also in line with whatever it is that the dua is saying. Somebody who's making dua for good health needs to look after their health also. It can't be that I'm going to put the responsibility of good health on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but I'm going to do things that are destructive to my health. It doesn't work like that. So, to summarize, to wrap up, yes, dua can change that type of destiny that has been left open-ended by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where Allah gives the slave an option. Just like good deeds can add and increase to a person's rizq, good deeds can increase a person's life, dua can do the same thing. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to make those kinds of du'as that are accepted by Him. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa